go through, freeze that. Thanks. Megan, have a look at the screen. See your image there? Is it still scanning?
Yeah. Going there.
I'll keep very still.
No.
All right, we need to adjust this a little bit more, maybe a little bit darker.
Well, to start with, I went to a few in services where they were using computers and video cameras and things like that, and printing, and I got enthused about it that way. And the school here only had a computer room, and it didn't really, it was accessible, but it didn't really fit into how I wanted to use it. So I saw the idea of having a computer in my room as being really good, because students would see it as just a piece of equipment, because there's so much else in here that they can use, and it would just sit in amongst the sewing machine and the iron and the scissors. I saw having the computer in the room being a big plus for the girls, even though most of my classes have a big percentage of boys in them. It was somewhere where the girls could use the computer and in a room where they felt sort of comfortable about it. Even though, as I said, there's a lot of boys, they don't feel dominated by the boys in here. Well, I started out using it for very simple things, teaching students to control the mouse, and they were printing off machine licences and things like that. And from there I moved to printing their name and simple designs on whatever they were making. And I used underwear ribbons, which are ribbons that you put in the printer, and you can print them on material. And I got some quite good effects with those, but they weren't really all that professional. So later on I started using Rezo screens, and the results were far more professional, and we could use a variety of paints and squeegee them through the screen and come up with some remarkable results.
If you put the face in the middle, sort of have that off-centre, no, this one not right on the centre, off-centre, so because that'll print up here, and then if you have the lettering here, it will sort of match.
That will look better under near the arm. And you put the other one on this side, and then put that under it.
Remember, that's the centre, so you have to have that at the centre.
Just put that under it, same distance from there.
Well, we used the video camera. The class sat in front of the video camera, and we just took our images and put them on the computer, and when we used them, we took our images off the computer and we ran them through the heat process, the images, and I printed them on his t-shirt.
First I sketched up a picture. It wasn't of me, just faces, and then I drew that up and then decided to put my own image on it. So we just stood in front of the video camera and took the image that we liked and just put it through the heat stencil.
Well, they were asked to make their clothes label clothes, to give themselves a label that they can use all year on whatever they make. The first garment happened to be shorts and top, and that was a very appropriate thing because there's so many clothes around at the moment that they display the labels on the exterior of the garment rather than on the inside. Well, I think their results, what they've produced on the computers, just far more professional than what they would produce by hand, and I think the finished results of their garments they've made, they can see them as being something that could be hanging in a shop. I think their sewing, they still need to work on that a lot more to give it a professional finish, but the printing part of it has definitely been as good as you'd buy in the shops, and they can see that.
We had a chance to use the computers, but I didn't really like it that much. And when we had it in the textiles room, I sort of didn't take to it at first, but after a while, it was really good.
Most of them don't know how to use the computer as yet, but I work on the computer a lot, and you find that it's easier if you keep on working on the computer. You get better results in the end.
There's a lot of difference. A lot of people liked it and wanted to use it, and a few just didn't want to try, really. I think at the end they all liked it.
They needed to see each other in their garments. So the simple idea was to put it on in the staff room. It involved absolutely no work at all, just a tape deck. And the response was just amazing.
We got a chance to show the teachers what we could do in textiles and how we produced our products.
They really liked them because they came up to all of us and commented how good they were.
The staff response was wonderful. I had staff coming up to me afterwards and asking me the processes involved. I had staff wanting me to print windsheeters for the school and asking me how the students could design them. So I spoke to the Year 12s over that. Most of the staff at the moment want me to run an in-service so they can learn the process and maybe use it in their classroom. So they're all thinking up ways that they can use it themselves. I think they see it as something quite simple that is feasible in other areas. And the staff are wonderful to the students. I think they approached most of them and commented on their garments and gave them a bit of a slap on the back and told them how game they were and things like that. I think it has improved their learning insofar as they're much more willing to accept criticism of their designs because they know that they can play around with it easily and change it and then maybe return to what they had. And I can make suggestions and they'll hear me out because they know that they can put their design up and I can put my suggestion up, and it doesn't mean to overtake them. I'm not drawing over their design. I'm just making an alteration that doesn't have to be accepted. My Year 11s that have done this activity, I'm going to investigate ways of making a design for material where they use two colours to print. So they'll have to separate their design and decide which part's going to go in which colour and everything. The end result will probably be swapping of material and making patchwork, something in patchwork, so it'll be mix and match materials.